Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with another movie review. Today's movie review I've watched from BET Plus and it's called The Missing. So basically there's this girl named Raina. Her husband is super abusive and I believe his name is Marcus. Yeah, if so, it's not. We're gonna call him Marcus in this for this, okay? So he's super abusive. He ends up marrying her, taking her away from her family, always like putting her down, shaming her emotionally, verbally, and emotional and physical abuse to her, basically domestic violence. To the point that like eventually he said that her mother never wanted her, stuff like that. Her mother eventually dies. They move into this nice, beautiful house, secluded from everybody else. And then it was for her birthday. She was supposed to be having a surprise party. And she asked him one question and he flipped. He flipped that. He was like, listen, that's why I don't want to do your daggone birthday party for you in the cabin. And it's just like, for what? All I did was say one thing to her. He flipped, he attacked her to the point where she ends up running into their room into the bathroom, and he came to try to get her and break down the door, so she barricaded herself inside. So she goes to the bathroom to try to get some tools or whatever so she can, try to calm him down. Eventually, it backfired. He basically reverse psychology on her, got her to think that everything was cool. They were just gonna talk and make up. Nope. He flipped the script. Once she opened that door, he pulled her out, threw her against the wall, and her head cracked on the wall. She fell down. He kicked her, threw her down the stairs. She fell onto the floor. Mind you, I didn't tell you this part, but I'm about to right now. She just found out that she was pregnant. So he's doing all this to her, and in my mind, as I'm watching, I'm like, she is pregnant. Just found out she's pregnant, and you about to almost make her lose her baby. Well, y'all baby. So a few days pass. He think everything is sweet. He's coming home from work. He calling out to her, and she's nowhere to be found. She then up and left the phone he bought her, took the money they had in the safe, and dipped on them. So she ended up moving to the small town, and fast forward to a year later. So she ended up having a baby. The baby name was Miracle, which is great fitting for the fact that he almost killed her husband, almost killed her to death, her and the baby. And the fact that, they survived the domestic violence against them is only thing but a miracle. So the baby's name is Miracle. So after that, she starts working at this diner. She's very paranoid, looking over her shoulder because any moment he could find her. And they were still legally married because she up and left, so there was no separation papers or nothing. So they were still married. She just left him. So she moved. Like I said, she got a job at this diner, and she meets some friends. Carmen and Eli. They both work at the diner with her. And while she was waiting tables for this old lady, there was a couple next to her, and the boyfriend was talking to his girlfriend the same way Raina was talked to by her husband, and it brought back flashbacks. So she was like, she went to go get some coffee. So she was like, do you want some coffee? And the boyfriend was like, I don't think so. And then Raina talked to the girl. She was like, do you want some coffee? And he was like, okay, I guess, sure. So she poured the girl's cup of coffee. And then when she went to pour his cup of coffee, she accidentally spilled it into his lap. So that can shut him off. It's like, karma has this way of coming back to you. But after that, her boss called her into the office and sent her home. Mind you, she dropped her daughter off for daycare. And the person that's normally there to get her daughter wasn't there. So some other girl get her, and she said I will sign her in or whatever. So since she got released early from work, she goes back to the daycare to go pick up her daughter. Come to find out, her daughter ain't there. She goes looking through the place after the owner done told her, listen, your baby is not here. She started looking through all the other kids, and she was just like, no, she's not here. So the owner ended up calling the police, and the police come, and Raina is belligerent. She is over the top infuriated because her daughter is missing. And the owner's just like, she's not really, trying to, really help it put any energy into. So long story short, the cops come, tell her like, listen, it's whatever, you can't do. They got to file a missing person report. And the owner was like, well, I'm sorry that her baby is missing, but you got to keep her away from her. Because basically the owner does some under the table daycare. Basically, you're not really supposed to be doing that, but she's doing it, so she was for having it. So eventually they put her into the cop car, take her down to the station, and she starts meeting with this detective. I think her name was Holly, Detective Holly, and she starts talking to her, and Raina was like, listen, the only person that's behind this is my husband. My husband is behind this, and I have a feeling he's behind it. But, she still want to look around and see where her baby was. She tried to find the girl that supposedly took her daughter to sign her in, even though she never signed her in. And it was just a whirlwind of back and forth. So she ended up finding the girl. Come to find out, the girl really didn't take her. It was her husband. And at first, the detective wasn't believing anything Raina was saying, but eventually she was like, what would you do? You have a child of your own. Like, what would you do? Would you want to just sit back and not let nothing happen? Do you want to sit back and not let nothing happen of finding out what happened to your child? Or would you just get up and, start looking and be more productive to finding what would happen? So, long story short, the husband was, he ended up finding where she was at. He also sent his living girlfriend that he got after she left to put on a uniform like the one she had and go to the daycare to pick up the daughter and take the baby back to their original house where she left from. Because, oh, dang it. Because the husband was watching her from the get-go. Once he found out, because she ended up paying cash for her delivery from giving birth. So they couldn't find no address for her. So they sent the bill to her previous address, which was back at his house. So that's how he already knew where she was at. And he was plotting on her from jump. And basically he said, if I can't have you, nobody can have you. Basically, he was trying to kill her. He didn't care about the baby. He didn't care about her. He basically wanted her to himself. And in the end, justice prevailed because she ended up shooting him in self-defense. And the Detective Holly was on her side and was just like, that's it. That's what, I don't see no issues. That was self-defense. And the crazy thing is, Detective Holly, her sister was in the same predicament and she didn't do nothing to help. So now that Raina was able to overcome her situation, Detective Holly was super proud of that. And, they became best friends. Also, the guy that worked at her job, Eli, and her friend Carmen, they was the ones that really had her back. They was just trying to make sure she did the right thing. Eli's cousin also worked at the department with Holly, so they put in a few strings. And, she got self-defense. She didn't go to jail. She got her baby back safe and sound. And she lived to see another day. Like, that movie was definitely good. Y'all need to check it out. It's called The Missing on BET Plus. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.